to the Point of Impact podcast with Rick McDaniel. Thanks for joining us today. Get ready to be inspired and motivated to live a high-impact life. Now, here's Rick.
Welcome to the Point of Impact podcast. I'm Rick McDaniel. It's great to have you joining us today as we kicked off our season 7 last week, which is very exciting. I said last week I would start on success and I would continue it again this week. And I've got a great one for you called 10 Dangerous Ways to Destroy Your Success. And if that doesn't pique your attention, I tried my best with some big words: dangerous, destroy. I'll get into all that in just a moment. Chose those words on purpose and thoughtfully and carefully. But before we get into that, last week I was talking about some of the things that did and did not happen over our break, over the summer break. Some things that did happen that I did not mention that I absolutely should. One is I came out with my 10th reading plan for the YouVersion Bible app. This incredible Bible app that is one of the largest apps in the world, is expected to hit 1 billion with a B, billion downloads sometime this fall. And I've already been invited to an event in November to celebrate. So it must be happening and coming up soon. So my 10th reading plan called Power Up, 5 days of inspiration for connecting to God's power. So there's things that we just can't do. There's problems, there's obstacles that we can't overcome, problems we can't solve. There are just things that are impossible for us, but not impossible for God. What's impossible with man is possible with God, the Bible says. And so if you want to know how to tap into, to connect with the power of God and see those things happen in your life that don't seem to be happening up to this point, it would be a great decision to go on the Bible app, type in Power Up, and start that only 5-day plan. It doesn't take long. It's done very well. It's only been out for a few weeks, and it is rocketing up in popularity within my own plans. It's already passed a number of them that have been out longer. So people are liking it. I think you'll like it too, and I would just highly encourage you to get the Power Up reading plan, a 5-day devotional that you can do each day for 5 days. You can download it this weekend, start it on Monday, go through Friday. So take advantage of that. Another thing is that I wrote an article entitled America Desperately Needs Inspirational Leaders, how you can be one. And that article came out a couple of weeks ago, and little did I know that we would have this horrible tragedy that took place when Charlie Kirk, the founder and leader of Turning Point, would be assassinated. A public execution in front of thousands of college students is just beyond shocking, and has obviously had a huge impact in our society and culture. So it's a sad, sad time. And that article, all the more so, needs to be read and put into practice and applied. Inspirational leaders, that's what we need. We need inspirational leaders, people who can transfer belief and can motivate and inspire people to do things. We don't need any more hate. We don't need any more division. We have plenty of that. What we need is faith, positivity, and inspiration, and someone's got to lead that. And let me just say to you, in terms of leadership, don't for a moment think that well, I'm not a leader. You can absolutely lead in all types of contexts. You may not have a title. You may not have people who report to you. Maybe you've never thought of yourself as a leader, but I'm just going to tell you what. You can be a leader. You can be a leader if you help a friend through a challenging situation, if you guide a customer in the right direction. In your family, you get your children to do the right things. If you're impacting the life of another human being, you can lead as a high schooler. You can lead in the home. You can lead all over the place. So don't for a moment believe that, you don't have a title. Somehow you're not a leader. You can lead, and we need more inspirational leaders. So go on Fox News, just type in my name and Rick McDaniel and find that article on America Desperately Needs Inspirational Leaders. Take advantage of it. It's really vitally important that people put into practice those words. Now, again, that is based on the chapter I wrote on inspirational leadership. That's coming out in the book Maverick Leadership on October 15th. So if you want to know more about that, by the way, maverickleadershipbook.com. Go to maverickleadershipbook.com and you can learn more. All right. Well, let's jump in here. By the way, just want to say this is episode 225. Just in case you're wondering how long we've been doing this, season 7. We're at episode 225. So lots of great stuff. And as I said last week, of all the themes I've spoken on, the most common theme is the theme of success, and I would like to keep doing it today. Now, why would I say 10 dangerous ways to destroy your success? And last week I talked about, how it's not enough to just reach success. Staying successful is the hardest thing. And so it's easy to destroy your success. You can have success, but it can be destroyed. And the reason I use the word dangerous is because of this. These 10 ways are dangerous because they can feel so normal. They can feel so normal. They can feel just like comfortable and normal. And you're like, no, that's not going to do anything. It's not going to affect me in a negative way. And it is. It is going to. It not only is going to, it's happening right now if any of these are a part of your life. So it's so important today to just listen and to identify, are any of these happening in my life? Because if they are, they're going to put you in danger of whatever success you've had of destroying it and whatever success you're after of keeping you from having it. Let's jump in. First of all, always waiting for someday. Someday. Someday is the code word for no day. Perpetually postponing important changes. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to. When? Someday. Or living in the future dreams, but you're wasting today. You get all excited. And this happens to visionaries. I understand that I'm one of them. You live, visionaries can see into the future and you can anticipate things that other people can't. And you can envision things that other people can't. And that's all well and good, but you can't live in the future. You have to live in the present and work toward the future. Believing that someday, will be different somehow, you can believe that, but you have to do something about that. It can't just be a belief. So you just can't wait for someday. You got to make the changes now. You have to take the steps today. If you want to see the future dreams realized, if you want to really see someday be different, you got to start today. And if you don't, you're going to destroy whatever success you've had so far, and you're going to destroy any chance of having that future success realized. All right, here's another: confusing busyness with progress. Oh man, this happens all the time. I'm grinding, I'm hustling. Well, it's good to grind and hustle, but activity is not the same thing as achievement. You can be busy doing stuff, but is that, moving the ball down the field, as coach said, matriculating the ball to the end zone? Are you moving that ball down the field? Or are you just busy? Again, just keep with football here. I was a running back, so I'll tell you that coaches will always talk to running backs about, you got to get upfield. It's a north-south. In other words, running backs, because they have moves and quickness, can sometimes try to just be shifty and go back and forth, side to side. But side to side does not gain you any yardage. Now, you need to do that at times in order to create the opening to go downfield. But if you spend too much time shifting back and forth, the rest of the guys on the defense show up, and you're not going to gain any yards, and you may end up losing yards. Activity is not the same thing as achievement. Busyness is not the same thing as progress. And sometimes busyness really masks a stagnation, like you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Busy, yeah, busy, but no progress. And I'm going to say something that's hard for me to say because I'm such a proponent of systems and creating systems, but you can build systems that end up producing nothing. Sometimes you can get all elaborate in the systems that you build, and you think, boy, we're going to implement these and this thing's going to hum. And that's how it should be. I don't know that they even need to be elaborate, by the way, but you build systems, and I've talked about this many times on this podcast in terms of leadership and how I've helped many people who worked for me to create systems. And once they create those systems, man, the systems really work, and then they become much more efficient and get a lot more accomplished, a lot more progress, a lot more achievement with the same amount of work. So I'm not saying don't create systems. What I'm saying is you can build systems, and really they don't get you matriculating down the field. They don't get you making progress, and you can't have that. All right, third danger, staying in your comfort zone. So easy to do. Choosing security over opportunity. Happens all the time. All the time. It's one of the main reasons why people don't experience success is they choose security over opportunity. Growth is on the other side of your comfort zone. Staying in situations you've outgrown. You have outgrown them. Yeah. And in order to go forward and have the progress and continued growth and bigger growth, you have to leave that situation. But that's not easy to do, right? Now watch this. Making decisions based on fear. Fear-based versus faith-based. I've talked about it many times. I'll talk about it many more times. I tweeted it not long ago. When you make fear-based decisions, it'll never lead to growth. Faith-based decisions lead to growth. Fear-based decisions generally are about change, like I'm afraid of change. Faith-based decisions are about I'm open to growth. And growth will mean change. You got to get out of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be, life-altering change. That's another thing that's such a misnomer. It could just be a small change. A little tweak here, a little tweak there, and you're on your way. But you've got to be willing to do it. Another dangerous thing, talking instead of listening. Don't just talk. Ask questions. And really listen. Do you know that in the Gospels, the first four books of the New Testament in the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which are four different accounts of the life of Jesus from four different perspectives on Jesus' life, they record 153 questions that Jesus asked. 153. So here you have the greatest teacher of all time, the greatest wisdom, the greatest source of wisdom of all time. So he should just talk and everyone else should listen. And yet Jesus asked 153 questions. That ought to tell you something, friends. Sort of like the anatomy, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Look in the mirror every day, you see that, ought to say something to you. Make other people feel important by listening and truly hearing what they have to say. Because people can tell you a lot of interesting stuff if you'll stop talking long enough to listen. And not listen so you can't wait till they're done talking so you can start talking, but really listen. Like listen before reacting or responding. Don't interrupt. Don't dismiss ideas in mid-sentence. Don't do stuff like that. So disrespectful to the other person and such a bad habit. Interrupting. Terrible. It's bad in marriages, causes a lot of problems. A man will be I'm going to make a general statement here. It doesn't apply to every man and woman, but a lot of women, much more than men, interrupt. A lot of men are be in these positions of leadership and authority, and they're used to people listening to them, and then they get home and they try to talk and they get interrupted and not listened to. Not good. Not good at all. All right, fifth dangerous way, needing others' approval. Needing constant approval before you take action. I mean, it's again, a lot of these things I've talked about before, but I've never, put them into one particular episode. But this idea of people pleasing and how negative that can be for you and how much it can hinder your life in so many ways. You want to be someone who is not a people pleaser, but a God pleaser. That's what the Apostle Paul said. He said, I'm trying to please God. Now, again, doesn't mean that you're supposed to be a jerk. Everyone not like you. Oh, I'm just trying to please God, not people. Well, if you please God, you should please people the majority of the time, and you should not have people that think you're a jerk and don't want to be around you. I'm not talking about that now. I'm saying like making decisions based on other people's opinions. Like letting other people keep you from, say, doing something that you want to do or believe you should do. And if you tie it in, with like the comfort zone stuff, like maybe it's a risk that you need to take and they're kind of keeping you from taking the risk. Letting external voices kind of drown out the internal wisdom that you have. Like, you know what you're supposed to do. No one knows better than you. No one knows you better. If you believe this is the direction you take, you feel like this is God's leading in your life. Again, I do believe in the wisdom that comes from the counsel of other people. Absolutely, positively. We're not talking about that either. We're talking about unsolicited or even people that you're close to, but they wouldn't be, say, an advisor or a counselor or a wise person, and allowing their opinions and their approval to be the most important thing for your life. All right, here's the big one, man. For me, been banging this drum a long time. Learning without doing. Learning without doing. The Bible says don't be just a hearer of the word, but be a doer of the word. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. Like learning without implementing. One of the bigger problems that you will find within, say, the Church of Jesus Christ, the Christianity in general, is you'll have these people who focus on learning the Bible. And I 100%, of course, believe that the Bible is the number one source of wisdom, information, guidance, and direction. It is literally like the owner's manual for life. So I've dedicated my life to 10 reading plans with the Bible, 2 devotional books with the Bible verse every day. So I don't know that I need to go, entire degree in the Bible, blah, 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 just don't need to really belabor the point. Obviously, I'm not talking about people should not learn the Bible. Here's what I mean. It's like their whole focus is to just consume more information. Just learn all kinds of things, which is great, but not great if you don't put it into practice. It's really the difference between teaching and training. It's like if a church says we're a teaching center, not so thrilled with that. I'd like you to be a training center. You're a training center. You go to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. Been there. They're training athletes to win. Now, of course, part of training is teaching, but training is about learning so you can do. Learning and people that are like this, they're like collecting information instead of creating results. I've often said that they're kind of like a person that has like a giant head full of knowledge that's propped up by a little pencil neck and a tiny little wimpy body. That is not the picture of what you want to be. It would be much better to have a very normal size head with a nice big neck, maybe not a giant 19-inch neck like me, but, good one, strong one, and then have yourself some good shoulders and muscle and, like you're working it out, like you're doing it. You're not just learning it. Sometimes education and learning is like a sophisticated form of procrastination. I have a friend who's been going to school forever. It's time to get out of school and start to do it. Now some people, I love to learn. I get it. I certainly spent enough years in college myself. I got 3 degrees. Holy smokes! I'm not going to criticize it learning in and of itself, but learning without doing, that is dangerous. Does not lead you to the place that you need to be. All right, here's another: participating in drama. Don't need it. Stay focused on your work. Stay focused on your mission. Stay focused on what you're supposed to be doing. Don't get involved in the politics of it all, of all the, the drama, it's a prescription for disaster. Don't fan the flames of conflict. Don't get involved in gossip. It's just a terrible thing, really, to do. Because I enjoy it. Well, there's other things that are bad that, people enjoy. That doesn't make it right. And if from a Christian perspective, we're like, well, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. Guess what else is wrong? Gossip. You don't hear that the same as you will hear other sins that are frowned upon. But the reality is, don't say a negative word about other people. If you have something to say to someone, say it to their face. Don't talk about people behind their back. Don't get wrapped up and involved. All that is a huge waste of your time. And some of you are doing this online. Your dramas, you're using your phone as a way of participating in drama, and you're wasting time that you could be using to actually be successful. All right, here's another danger: making excuses. Some people are almost brilliant at explaining, why they can't do something. It's almost like if you put this much effort that you put into making this excuse into actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, you have a lot more success. Don't make excuses. Old timer said to me years ago, an excuse is the skin of a reason stuffed with a lie. The skin of a reason stuffed with a lie. It's pretty powerful metaphor. Don't do it. Sort of crafting these sophisticated reasons for inaction. Sophisticated procrastination, learning without doing. Now here we go. Excuses. Sophisticated reasons for inaction. These are the reasons why I have chosen not to move forward on this plan, or whatever the case may be. And at the end of the day, what do you got? You got a big zero. This is what lack of success looks like. And if you're not careful, what happens is you build your entire identity. And man, if you're a leader, this is really bad, around your limitations. Well, we can't do this and we can't do that. I just hate that kind of talk. The Bible says I can do all things through Christ, who gives me the strength, the power to do it. There's not, this limitation thinking, this coming up with excuses for why we can't has held so many people back, has held so many organizations back from realizing their full God-given potential. Don't let it happen to you. All right, here's a big one too. Man, these are all so important. Surrounding yourself with the wrong people. You're surrounding yourself with growth limiting people. They're not growing, and they don't want you to grow either. Here's something to think about. Surround yourself with people who share your values, not just your interests. Just let that sink in now, because a lot of times then we've got these people that, we share interests, and so that's what got us together. Understood, get it. But then what you realize is they don't really share your values. They have a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset. They have a negative mindset instead of a positive mindset. They have fear-based mentality instead of a faith-based mentality. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. These are not the people that you want to be around. They're holding you back. And if you've had success, they'll hold you back from more success. And if you haven't had any or nearly enough, you can look right there and you can say, there it is. You're the product of the people you surround yourself with. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33, one of the most powerful, lesser known verses in the Bible. Bad company corrupts good character. If I wrote the Bible, which I did not, I would say something like, good company positively impacts people to do better or something. I don't know, but it wouldn't be bad company. It sounds so negative. Bad company corrupts good character. But this is the Bible's truth. It's wisdom. Get around the wrong people. Negative, fixed mindset, fearful people, and they will corrupt your good character. Do not stay in places that reinforce bad thinking or bad behavior. Don't ignore the context that you're in and how that is shaping you. People, you hear these phrases, we're the result or the product of the five people that we surround ourselves with. There's a lot of truth in that. I mean, if you just were to just think for a moment, who are like the five people closest to me, and then ask yourself, do these people not just only share my interests, but share my values? Are these people that are more fear-based or faith-based? Are these people that are more negative or positive? Are these people that have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? I mean, those are the sorts of things you need to ask. All right, 10th one, final danger. Having no clear goals. Having no clear measures for success. This is what I am trying to accomplish. Thus, when I accomplish it and I've reached it, I know what success looks like. Working without any kind of specific targets. So how do you then know if you're successful? And people are like, well, I'm not about the numbers. There's a whole book in the Bible named Numbers. Come on. Numbers matter. You're making progress impossible to track. It's a danger. Like the light should be flashing right now. No scoreboard. And one of the things I love about the KIPs, the KPIs, the key performance indicators, is the idea of the scoreboard. Like, let's just all weekly sit down and look at the scoreboard. I come out of athletics, that's my background, and it made it pretty easy. Like, what does the score say? That's all. You can, you could say we played better than them. What's the scoreboard say? Well, it says we lost. Okay. You can, by the way. You can play a better game and still lose. But scoreboard's a scoreboard. And, you got to have a scoreboard. You have to know if you're winning or not. You cannot be successful if you do not even know what success is, if it has not been defined, if you do not have clear markers, clear targets, clear goals. Like, we've reached it. We know. All right, I've said many things about success, many episodes, and certainly spoken about some of these things before, but I never put it together like this, all in one. 10 dangerous ways to destroy your success. Whatever's resonated with you today, get on it. Don't let anything stand in your way. Be a winner at the game of life. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the Point of Impact podcast with Rick McDaniel. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to you joining us for our next episode.